Bye YouTube.
Hello, fellow fans of... Should I say that? Is that going to get me comments? Hello, fellow karting fans. After doing my first year in the Novice experience in Club 100 last year, I had my first race stepping up to the Intermediate Experience Championship a few weekends just gone. I'm not gonna go through the whole race and go through the whole footage because A, the GoPro ran out of battery, so I don't have the footage, and B, I don't think it's particularly interesting to do that at this point. I think one thing that I realised was beneficial was me being able to share my experience of starting totally afresh in Club 100 and entering the Novice Championship last year. And so maybe what I can offer now is the experience of what it's like moving from that Novice Championship up a level into the Intermediates. The Intermediate Championship, you've got a whole load of people in the field who, do a lot of Club 100. They're in the big boy SP60, the Sprint Championship, and they're competitive in that field. So what I find useful is I can look at that and find some people to compare myself to. And yeah, there are some pretty quick people in there who I know I can target to take them down. Just kidding, Alex. You're safe. You're safe, Alex. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so I guess I'll show the race footage I have. And then there are just a few things which I was sort of thinking about, I guess I wanted to talk about regarding some of the conversations I had with fellow novices on the day, and just a little bit about the Novice Championship and sort of how it works. And yeah, so I'm not really sure what this video is going to be called because it's not like a race review. I don't know, we'll come to that. Clickbaity title, I need to find a clickbaity title. Novice driver reacts to Club 100 madness. Number 7 is the craziest, something like that. Okay, so here's the race footage for race 1 of the Intermediates. I qualified. I was very happy to qualify 13th at Buckmore Park in the intermediate field. Buckmore Park is a track that I felt less competitive at last year, which I do get the feeling is just partly down to the fact that a lot of people have been there a lot of times before, and last year was the first time I'd ever driven at Buckmore Park. So I felt like I struggled comparatively to other people. Anyway, come the Intermediates, I really felt like I was going quick in qualifying. I set a good few laps quite consistently, got overtaken by people, got passed by people who I knew were faster in qualifying, but I stuck with them, set a real quick lap. I was happy with that, qualified 13th, happy days. I knew going into these races, remember we've got practice qualifying, then 20-minute race 1, 20-minute race 2. I knew that the intermediate class would be potentially brutal and unforgiving. I was fully expecting that, and it absolutely turned out to be that. So here we go to the race across the line in 13th on the inside, and the first thing immediately, you can't see it on the GoPro, but there's someone here. There's someone there on the inside, and I'm going into turn 1 like, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know you could just put your nose in there. So that was an immediate sign of things to come, and then lap 1 just turned out to be hilarious. I'm not even going to try and talk through it. I guess I will put up some emojis to sort of convey what my face liked inside the helmet at all times. Okay, so yeah, that was lap 1, ending in a spin going down the hill. What you can't see from that GoPro footage again is firstly just how chaotic and fast it is, because the stabilization just smooths everything out and makes everything look slower, and just how many people kind of outside of the camera shot are like alongside you, nibbling at you. Anyway, for me this was carnage, but this is part of the reason why I wanted to throw myself into the intermediates. Is I've got to get used to this kind of, you know, it's a go-kart race, it's gonna be madness, it's gonna be aggressive, so I've got to get better at that, and yeah, that will improve with experience, no doubt. So yeah, then basically for the rest of the race I made up a few positions, but finished wherever I finished, near the back, 27th or something, in race 1. And then race 2 I have no footage of, but similarly I started wherever it was, 27th, 28th on the grid, and I think lost a few places on the first lap, 3 or 4, and then came around in 31st. The other thing about the intermediates, and this amazed me about the novices last year, is how tight the pace is between, you know, I used the example in the last video, between 5th and 25th was whatever it was, less than a second. In the inters, that is even more compressed. It's fractions of a second between every position. And that just meant that once, you know, I started 13th, and once you're at the back, you feel like maybe you're a bit quicker than the people you're with, but you're not that much quicker. And then trying to overtake, you almost can't imagine trying to overtake. And so the pace is just so high, and you've got to be quick throughout the whole race to stand any chance. Okay, so what does this mean for the novices? I'm not sure. It was Buckmore Park. There are other tracks where I think I would maybe be comparatively better, and I'll see how I go throughout the year. And I don't know, I'm going to report back towards the end of the year of how I feel the step up from novice to intermediate was. So let's not go into that too much now. What I wanted to say was, firstly, I had a few people come up and say hello over the time at Buckmore, and say, I mean, nobody said that they entered the championship because of the video I made, but quite a few people suggested that that they enjoyed it, and that it was a factor in their decision of whether to enter the novice championship this year just gone. So does that mean JV does owe me that commission? I think he owes me, you know, some percentage of those people's entry fees. He's not mentioned that to me yet, but we'll see. And also, that was just really nice. It was really nice, like, to have people say that.
I love your videos, YouTube.
Oh yeah, thanks mate.
Brilliant.
What a beautiful thing when people say that they like the thing that you did and it helped them make a decision. That's great. So yeah, very happy to meet all those people, including an old friend from uni, Johnny, who I hadn't seen for years. And he came and said hi, and I didn't recognise him because he had a beard and long hair. And he's in the novice experience lightweights this year as well. So that's cool. That's really cool. But the other thing, over a few conversations I had with people, including with, I've got a mate who I travelled with, and who had my old GoPro on their cart, and it fell off the cart, which is fun. Here's a photo of the marshal collecting the GoPro from the side of the track. The casing is broken, but fair play, the GoPro seems fine, and it's now imbued with that, you know, that sort of hallowed red tarmac, the red paint of Buckmore Park. So hopefully it's kind of absorbed some of the power of Buckmore into the case. Maybe it's worth more now. Maybe I'll put it on eBay. Rare GoPro with Buckmore Park paint imbued into it. Anyway, few conversations I had just about the Novice Championship, and I want to be careful sort of how I word this, but one thing I sort of found myself reassuring a few people who I spoke to was the Novice Championship is not entirely full of people who are totally new, firstly to go-karting and also to the Club 100 karts, right? And this is important because I don't want people who are at Buckmore this weekend to be too, I guess, disheartened if they found themselves a bit slower than the front-running pace in their novice classes. So yeah, it's just worth noting that the novice class is sort of designed for people who are new to Club 100, but there are people coming, for example, from the British University Kart Championship, which you can tell because they'll have like university overalls, race suits, whatever you call them, on. So they will have driven these go-karts before. They will have almost certainly driven them at Buckmore Park before as well. So you're at a disadvantage compared to these people. There will be people coming in to the Novice Championship who have done a fair bit of karting, competitive karting before, I think. And there are also some people who have done the Novice in previous years, the Novice Championship in last year or whatever, and decided that they were sort of still learning and wanted some more time in the Novice class, which is fair enough. But they will have done Buckmore Park in the Novice karts last year or the year before or whatever. So all that is to say is if you find that you entered this Novice Championship and you're like, oh wow, this is quick, this is hard, give it some more time, because people who've been racing before will still be improving kind of slowly, but you will be improving at a much faster rate. If you're new to this, you'll be getting better way quicker. So bear that in mind. Also bear in mind that, like I always say, and I'm sort of using it as an excuse at this point, Buckmore Park is the kart track that a lot of people have raced at before. A lot of these people have raced there in Club 100 karts. So you're naturally at a bit of a disadvantage, it being Buckmore Park anyway, and you might find that at different circuits there's less of a disparity. One thing I've sort of seen, maybe a comment on one of my recent videos is should the Novice Championship be just for novices? I don't know what the sort of Club 100 organisation's viewpoint on that is. I guess they're kind of, they're sort of letting people decide which championship they want to enter, and if people feel like they are want to be in the novice, then that's up to them. One thing I did think with it is, maybe one thing that could be done, which might be a cool idea, maybe this could be mentioned, is should there be it sounds silly, but should there be a rookie class in the Novice Championship, for example? And should the people who, I don't know, you can't sort of really set an absolute criteria on it, but people who are actually new to Club 100 and maybe exclude people who've raced in Bucks karting, universities karting, maybe sort of highlight those people in the result sheets. Maybe they even get their own sort of class trophy or their own sort of championship class to call out the sort of the best placed rookie in the Novice Championship. Would that be something that would kind of give those sort of rookie people more of a feel for where they actually are relative to everyone else, and would it kind of celebrate the achievements of people who are new to this? Just something to think about maybe. It's also notable that this year they've had so many entrants for the novice that they've had to split it again. Maybe due to my video, we never know. They've had to split the novice into heavies and lightweights. And maybe at that point you could, instead of doing heavies and lights, you could sort of split the experience field into kind of rookie novices, I guess sort of intermediate novices who've done the novice before, and then I guess the intermediate would then be called like the expert experience. I don't know. The intermediate is a bit of a weird name, just as an aside. There are really fast people in there. Anyway, so yeah, that's my kind of thought for the novices. Keep your spirits up. See how you go the rest of the year. You will improve and gain experience very quickly. And yeah, see how you go for a while. The novice field is competitive and fast, and if you're kind of doing all right in that field, you're doing a great job. Related to that is like, could we organise, so for example the experience is going to Rye House this year. I've never driven at Rye House before. I'd be interested to give it a go before going and trying to lap it in the super fast, super good Club 100 carts. Would people, you know, if you out there are watching this and and you're new to some of the tracks as well, would you be interested in, like, we could sort of have a bit of a rookies trip to some of the tracks to learn them? I've already driven at Lyd last year. Lyd is the next round of the experience, right? And Lyd for me is like, you know, it's like 2 days journey and you have to stop overnight to rest and recover. And so I'm probably not going to do any ride and drive at Lyd. I'm just going to go and race there. But other tracks, Rye House I'd like to go to again. Wilton Mill is more convenient. Would fellow rookies be interested in trying to organise like a bit of a, you know, I don't know what they do, some kind of race or arrive and drive session, and we could all sort of go and learn and see how we get on? Is that something people would be interested in? Give me a shout, put it in the comments. I'd be willing to sort of try and organise that. If you're not on the Facebook group, Sam Cox, who I think is, what's his handle? Sam Cox is Dirty Sea Dog? Dirty Skin Dog? Who are you, Sam? Crazy Skin Dog Karting. I think that's Sam Cox. Anyway, Sam on the Facebook, you can see, put a funny comment, which was, you know, by the way, didn't the rules say that the grid for race 2 is determined by the fastest lap in race 1? Isn't that sort of written in the rules and we didn't do that? Which I think is hilarious that we did a whole day and no one noticed this, despite it being written in the rules. I think Sam automatically wins his novice championship this year just for being the only one who actually bothered to read the regulations. If you dive into these regs, there's some crazy stuff in here, guys. Like, apparently, contact driving by forcing another driver to run wide. It's not allowed. You're not meant to do that. It also says that you're not meant to push people over. And you know those cones that they put down that we all sort of make sure we hit and knock those cones out of the way?
You're absolutely right, mate. It is red number plates on the Class 1. Oh, there's a hit the bollards.
No. You're not meant to do that. You're meant to avoid the cones, apparently. So I'd recommend reading these regs. There's some crazy stuff in there. Round 1 of the intermediates, I felt quick, but I finished last. We'll see how we go for the rest of the season, and then I'll report back to my fellow novices, see what I found. And yeah, keep at it, everyone. Like, it's tough, the pace is quick, but there's some good people in all the classes. So if you're sticking with it, if you're doing well, that's the main thing. Yeah. Most importantly, keep having fun. God, Buckmore Park is a good track in those karts. Oh, it was so fun. I am struggling that I now have to wait until June for round 2. I'm on the waiting list for Wilton Mill, but I think the chances of getting a space... I'm on the waiting list for Wilton Mill in the sprints and the SP60 and the tests. I'm on the waiting list for everything, but I think the chances of getting a place are minuscule because rightly everyone wants to be in it. So yeah, it might have to be June until the next round, which I'll just sit here scrolling through the results, looking at my GoPro videos and longing for that. So see you at Lid. Say hi again if you're a novice. See how you do. Come and chat. Should be a good laugh. Have a good one, everyone. Hello, fellow fans of children's motorsport done competitively by adults. Should I say that? Is that going to get me comments? Oh man, this is taking too long, this video. It's meant to be quick. I hope it doesn't take too long to watch. That was too much talking. Try and cut this down in the edit.